I don't want to paint a bad picture here, but I think they were, oh yeah, this sounds really good, you know.
Warren, of course, were impressed with what you were doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And
No, I'm just saying that it's because I was doing a lot of stuff. I think they was probably quite glad to hear from me.
But
Big-headed bastard.
I mean, Ultravox then, as you say, you didn't want to talk about it, and other people were kind of
saying how good it was, you know.
Yeah. Tell the people that. I mean, to explain a little.
But that was just too weird, you know. To have a different point of view of it, because we were right in the middle of it. It's always like this with people making records and stuff. You're right in the thick of it. And you can handle that when you're doing it, because you're doing it. But when you're not doing it, and have someone else tell you that you really like this, it's quite odd. That's all I can say. It's a really odd thing. So I was immediately getting on with Visage, even though it was a much fun, lighter project. I was satisfying. In fact, I used some of the ideas that were rejected for the Systems of Romance album on it, like at the intro of Mind of a Toy was a kind of a spacey, rotating instrumental I did, all these instrumentals. So I was getting some release of what I was doing, well, it just makes you look at it, I think, at the end and realise that you had got something new. Because it had a big effect on me, and I think it has a big effect on musicians when you dropped, because you feel like a bloody failure, you know. And it's when people, in the end, after a bit of space, especially people like the Simple Minds guys saying they liked it, because I liked some of their stuff, you know. You tend to think, well, it made me think that we'd really got something. As me, Warren and Chris, you know, we've got something.
And in Visage, you know, Midge was on guitar, Steve was singing. How did it come about? Did you invite Midge to sing, or how did that relationship work?
In Ultravox? Yeah, I did. I mean, I just said, come on, let's give it a crack. I mean, it's a bit of a blurred memory, that, but I seem to remember, I remember when we were in the studio at Martin Russian's, Midge had learnt, this is how practical he was, and he sang The Quiet Man and stuff, and so he made me realise that we could knit the two together, and it wouldn't be such a case of going in and writing a whole album, because I think I'd got a little bit befuddled into that. It was a case of, yeah, well, we could do these good tracks that people are rating now, like Slow Motion, Quiet Man, or we even did Dislocation. And we could do it like that, you know, just by playing it to me. And that was interesting because it just showed that it could work as a guitarist and singer. Actually, yeah, I'm just remembering, that was actually one of the things that I wasn't too sure about, coming down to a four-piece, you know. And that's what he did. He played them, showed his ability to be able to do that and sing. He's a practical guy, Midge. He was good, you know. He worked hard, you know. So when we went and rehearsed together, I mean, it was just a case of doing a few mid-tempo tracks that worked quite well, that seemed to come out quite quickly. And Midge had an important influence on those, like New Europeans and these mid-tempo things. Private Lives, and we actually touched on, am I racing ahead now? We touched on an electronic thing with Mr. X, where there was no guitar, and that was brilliant, because you see, because we were racing and all going so fast at that time, it really was like that. I then fixed us up with a manager, because I realised that was a lot of our problems was because we were manager-less through the whole island thing, even though we were helped like people like Richard Griffiths. But, you know, I really saw that was a mistake. We need a manager, you know, someone. So I got on the phone, and I'd been hustling for a manager when we had Systems of Romance. I talked to the Who's manager, I talked to, oh, we did? I can't remember. But I mean, the Who's manager was like, yeah. But anyway, there was another guy I was going to talk to, and that was Chris Morrison, Thin Lizzy's manager, and he was up for it straight away. And he picked up the tempo of the whole thing. He was also interested in Visage, he was interested in Ultravox, and it was a case of, we want to do it like this, and it was like, right, let's do it then. So we wanted to get out of this country, because Midge was a bit sensitive about what had just happened to him with the rich kids. So he wanted to get out of this country. And me and Warren were interested in the States, having just been there. So Chris Morrison organised this for us to go do quite a biggish tour, club tour in the States, because we knew you could go to clubs and use their PA, which is actually quite a new thing that Miles Copeland had organised earlier that year. So you haven't got the baggage, and it's not expensive. So that's what we did. We did these few mid-tempo tracks, electronic tracks, reworked some of the old stuff, and we got a set very quickly and beggared off to America over Christmas. We did 12 nights at the Whiskey A Go-Go over the New Year and some other places up and down the West Coast. And we did quite a lot. We went back there again as well. So we came back from that, and when we started rehearsing again, we expected things to happen immediately. We were very much like that. CBS were interested when CBS was. But I remember starting rehearsing again. This is quite a fond memory. Freezing bloody February up at Easy Eye, just off Caledonian Road. And it was peculiar. Again, it's amazing how these things happen. The guy from CBS came in and listened to us. And that was the day we were writing